Okay, this project is for how to make a plant, and it could be a flower, it could be anything, but we could start out with the leaf and show you a technique that you can do in Sculptris for creating a realistic leaf. So the first thing to do is do a Google search for leaf skeleton, and leaf skeleton pulls up all of these images of leaves where the only thing that remains is it's been eaten away, and all that remains are the veins of the leaf, basically. And these images are usually high contrast, so black and white. So this works really well for the texture tool in Sculptris, which I'll demonstrate. And I've chosen this leaf right here. I've downloaded it. So what we do next then, that was redundant. We go to Photopea, which is a browser-based Photoshop type of app. So you don't even have to download it, it's free. Go to photopea.com. And it took me 3 times to figure out how to do this in a way that I could teach it. So I'm no expert at Photopea, but if you have a knowledge of Photoshop, it's very similar to Elements. So the first thing we want is, since our leaf skeleton image is not formatted, we want it to be on a square. Because the Sculptris texture tool right here, it operates as a square. So you want the image to fit on a square. So first thing we do is create that backdrop. So it's new project. Go to photo, and I happen to know the size of my image. It's roughly 9 inches in one direction at 72 dpi. So I'm going to make a 9-inch square and create, and I want it to be black. The color down here is already on black, so I'll pick out this brush tool. I want the size of the tool to be bigger than that, so I'll go up here and I'll dial up the size a little bit. That seems to be good. And I can make this black. I couldn't find a paint bucket tool. I'm sure it's there somewhere, I just couldn't find it. So we do this. Alright, so we have the 9-inch square, it's black. Now we want to bring the leaf image in. I'm open in place, works for me. I don't know, you probably just press open, but I'm going to choose this leaf. It's there, and so it took me a while to figure out how to do this. You know, in Photoshop it's a little different, but you go from, it comes up, so right here is this black box, right here is the leaf. The way I figured out to do it is that you go over here where the leaf is in layers, and you click on it and drag it over to new project, and then there it is, it's on that project, and you can center it. It'll give you a red line and lets you know when it's centered. So we want that to be vertical, not horizontal, so we go to image, just a second, go to image, and then go to transform, and we want to rotate it. Let's just rotate it 90 degrees that way, and then flatten the image, and then we can export this as, say, a JPEG. Save as, I'll just say leaf 2. So we have that JPEG there. Now we go into Sculptris. So what you do is you go to brush tool, pick out new, and then leaf 2 is one I saved. That's it. And this is, I should have probably done a little bit better job of making this line very straight. Let me see if I can do that, because we want it to be symmetrical. So for example, let's start out with the flat plane. We're going to stamp on it. You want it to be high res. Right now it's only at 2048 angles. We subdivide it, and that multiplies it by 4 until you get about 500,000. We don't want it, we can have it on symmetry, but that's how you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's see. You have to enable that. You go to draw, dial the size up all the way, have strength, doesn't have to be too high, and then so you could see that you could get this realistic stamp of a leaf on there. Now you can see why having that line more centered, we could get a symmetrical kind of leaf a little bit easier. So let me see if I could do that in transform. Let's see, we go to Control Z, should be able to unflatten it, I guess. Did I unflatten it? Transform. I don't know if it allows me to custom transform it. Let me see. I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. There we go, transform controls. So we could tilt that, make it more vertical. And it gives, that red line helps. It gives you a line to work with. Alright, so you can press down the layer, flatten the layer, turn off flint. So let's go back to brush, maybe make it all black in the background there. Zoom out. Alright. Export as a JPEG. Save. Let's go, let's say 2A. Now let's just say 3. Alright. New. Okay. Subdivide to about 500,000. We want to get the new leaf on there. Let's see. Leaf 3. And let's see what happens with symmetry. Yeah, it's hard to, it's difficult to line it up just so that that center so what you might end up doing is just going to asymmetry, clicking off the symmetry button and making an asymmetrical leaf. The only problem with that is, well, I'm sure we could figure it out. We'll go this way. So you can see that you have a realistic leaf. So the way we want to really do that leaf is go to Sphere, New Scene. And we want to kind of give an approximate leaf shape. So I'm using the scale tool on global, and I'm just more or less flattening out like a leaf. I'm kind of getting that leaf shape there. So again, scale global direction going upward from the front. So it's kind of a leaf shape. Let's see what happens. We want to subdivide it as well. Again, I would say bring it up to 500,000. Problem is you're dealing with two sides. So it's not going to be as high res as that single plane. So we've got this clicked on enable already. So we go to draw, size all the way up, strength down kind of low. We're still on symmetry, sorry. We want to click it off. You don't want symmetry. Alright. Okay. Alright, so maybe we could do something, let's go back to symmetry. Maybe we could shape it a little bit more like the leaf. Okay, so let's try this again. Turn off symmetry. I know this is complex, but I'm laying it all out. You've seen what happens in real time. You can follow along. So get back to draw. Size all the way up, strength kind of low. On enable. All right. Getting there. So now at this point, it's just your decision of whether you got what you want. What looks right to you. Also, you can dial it up a little bit more. It's pretty strong. And maybe you want it to invert. Let's see what happens if we invert it. There's a few options there. So, like you might find invert works well for one side of the leaf, where the veins are recessed rather than standing out. It's also strength is a little bit high, so it's giving me some problems. you know, maybe that's not too bad. There's another option with invert. If you press this, let's see what happens with that. Um, so I think I like the enable the invert, the first invert. You can't have the clay tool on for it to work as well as it does. And maybe the strength is still a little bit up high. So let's try this one more time. A little bit higher. Close. So I'm moving the mouse, the cursor just slightly to hone in on what okay, I'm gonna live with that. Alright, so there we have that. So let's click this off. We don't want to be in stamp mode anymore. So what we could do now is, there's a couple things we could work on. We could make it more leaf-like in form. So we could go to the draw tool. Really, it might be better if we try to flip it into symmetry mode. So let's see if we can move things around here. Straighten this out a little bit. That way when we shape the leaf, we could do it in symmetry. Alright, so let's see what happens. Not quite. Or maybe that was exact. Global. So if you move it over just a little bit, this way, looks like we can move this bottom portion over just slightly. Alright, let's see what happens. That's not horrible. Let's just go with that. So now we have a symmetrical leaf that's kind of like this, not, you know, not exact, but we've got a, it looks like the top part of the leaf. The bottom part would have the opposite stamp. And we could do that later. Or we could do it now. But let's shape the leaf. So we have a flat form. We could go to the draw tool and just carefully run your draw tool over it if you want. I don't like that effect. Let's see. What happens if we do this? That's weird. So maybe the grab tool is the way to do it. I was trying to raise the sides of the leaf, leaving the center more of a valley with the draw tool, and that was just making more problems. But this grab tool just lifting on the edge seems to be doing a great job. Yeah, that's not bad. Push that in the center there. Push that in the center there. If we want, we could get a little more, go to the side and then get more curvature like that. Alright, so there you have a leaf. A realistic looking leaf. What we could have done was we could have stamped the inverted version of it on, or the regular version on the other side. And we would have had this texture on both sides. But there you can see it's a pretty realistic looking leaf texture. Alright, and then you export it, and then we could keep going from there. Alright. Leaf 1. Okay.